Jim Emmerton, 2011 Western Canada Lifetime Achievement Award. As Executive Director of the British Columbia Law Institute and the Canadian Centre for Elder Law, Jim Emmerton is using decades' worth of legal and business experience to direct research and law reform projects. He spent 19 years with brewing giant John Labatt, where he achieved senior executive ranks.
Well, if we go back a little bit to the time when John Labatt existed before it was bought out, it was probably the 18th, 19th largest company in Canada.
He served as corporate secretary, treasurer, and capped his career at Labatt as vice president and general counsel, where he led a team of 25 and managed acquisitions and dispositions valued at more than $4 billion.
Living in a beer company where everybody is shouting and everybody's screaming to see who can be the best, it was really quite unique to have Jim come in and handle things in a completely different way. It always surprised me how this quiet man always had the answer to the things that needed to be done.
I think the key attributes for a really top-notch corporate counsel would be the ability to take complex legal issues and distill those and be able to communicate them to the business executive group in a very understandable way. And Jim had a great talent at doing that.
Jim joined Methanex in 1997. In addition to general counsel work, he was responsible for business development and strategic initiatives.
Well, Methanex is the Canadian company, world's largest methanol producer. We have chemical plants located all around the world in places like Egypt, Trinidad, Chile, etc. So Jim had a central role in the development of our Trinidad plant. Associated with that plant was an opportunity to build a second plant called Atlas, and Jim was really responsible for the building of the Atlas plant, which to this day is one of the great achievements in Methanex. It's a fantastic plant, it's a huge plant, it runs reliably and safely, and it's a plant that we're very proud of. What makes Jim such a great corporate counsel is his integrity, his honesty, and his hard work, and his being prepared to take on responsibility.
Jim left Methanex in 2004 and took on a completely different challenge in 2007. Mr. Emmerton became Executive Director of the British Columbia Law Institute and the Canadian Centre for Elder Law.
Well, Jim came to us at a time in his life when he'd had a very successful career in a corporate environment. At that point in his life, Jim could have gone on a very comfortable retirement. But instead, I think what he decided to do was take that knowledge back to the nonprofit world and teach us how to run ourselves like a successful business.
What Jim did that was very different in law reform is he made sure that law reforms stopped being so esoteric, and it wasn't just lawyers talking to lawyers. But he engaged community-based organizations with governments and brought people together to have a conversation about how to make laws better for everyday Canadians. Jim's always had an ability to see what we need to do next. He's always been a visionary in his field, and this is ever more true in his work in elder law. He sees clearly that Canada is a rapidly aging population, and that the main set of needs that we have in this country are around seniors issues.
I think probably Jim's sense of humor is one of the reasons why he can navigate all different kinds of social environments with comfort and with a way of making everyone else feel at ease. No, Jim is instrumental in the creation of the Great Debate. The Great Debate as an event didn't exist before Jim arrived at the BCLI, and it's now become an annual event that the bar looks forward to every year.
He has proven that with determination, creativity, and compassion, a single lawyer can make a difference.
I didn't hesitate to think about Jim Emmerton for the Lifetime Achievement Award because of the huge respect I have for the broad-based contribution that Jim has made to the profession.
As executive director, Jim brought corporate leadership and corporate intelligence to a nonprofit context.
I mean, we were all party boys, I hate to say it, but that you got to be that way to be in this business. And Jim, for me, was always the quiet, even-tempered, mild-mannered kind of guy that you see today.
A great example of Jim's integrity is in conducting interviews. We had the occasion to hire a new lawyer in the law department, so Jim and I were conducting the interview. It was going fantastic. I was there with this person. I wanted to hire him. And then Jim asked his question. And his question was, if you had to give a bribe to somebody in a third world country to get the deal done, would you do it? This guy hemmed and hawed, and he said, well, if that's what it takes to get the job done, then I would be prepared to do it. Jim effectively closed his binder, said thank you very much for coming in. It was all over.
Jim is one of the people I admire most in this world. He brings leadership and humanity to everything he does while continuing to strive for excellence, and he brings out that excellence in others.
Yeah, Jim Emmerton is inspirational, I think, to younger lawyers. He's got a passion for the law. He enjoys talking about law, and he enjoys taking technical legal issues and then applying them in the real world, in the real business world.
For his achievements in both the private sector and the public interest, Jim Emmerton is the recipient of the 2011 Western Canada Lifetime Achievement Award.